So I sat on this for a bit because I was trying to figure out what angle I wanted to take this video, especially, considering the screenshots that I was taking. And I don't even know that I could fully say that I have like a full idea because there's so much about this project in particular, and there's so many ideas that came to me in regards to just this project and even just the site, because I was thinking last night, and then the thought came to me again this morning, the idea of like the Target Walmart thing. And let me explain what I'm talking about. When I was in college, the joke we used to have was that Target was the classy place to go, and so even still, it's like I always used to think when I went into a Walmart, it's like you just expected cheap things, cheap atmosphere, because like the very atmosphere when you walked in, just really kind of made you think, you know, well, it really kind of made you think for like country redneck, but not just redneck, because I have family who were from Broken Bow, so it's sort of like that. It made me think that real kind of like country kind of feel like it's a one-stop shop. You go in and you can find anything you want, and it's going to be cheap, and you're going to have great deals, and because you know what you're getting into, they don't necessarily care about the presentation aspect of it. And then you walk into like a Target, and the atmosphere seems higher class, and things are organized, and you feel like, even though it's not like the highest quality, you feel like you're getting better quality at a decent price. And looking at sort of like the comic offerings on Kickstarter, and like just the offerings and things I've been getting off of Indiegogo. And it's sort of like, it's that same kind of feeling. You browse through, and just the class level of projects is vastly different. And I say that as I remember a video that Diversity in Comics did when he was first doing Jawbreakers, and why he eventually went to Indiegogo, because Kickstarter kept playing games. And looking through a lot of their offerings and the things that they've approved, especially when they did the shady thing with EVS of allowing a fake version of his Cyberfrog project to be put up. And it really just kind of gave me sort of like that same feeling that, you know, Kickstarter was taking this lowbrow, low class kind of feel to them. And that's not to say that you can't find great projects, or valid projects, but a lot of the SJW comics who have been castigating fans on Twitter and have been using blockchains and things like that, when you start looking into them and you realize that a lot of them have run past Kickstarter campaigns and they've not produced work, and they can still put things up on Kickstarter, that it kind of tells me the kind of platform that Kickstarter is. And I understand that they can't take full responsibility, but it's sort of like your name will inevitably go down because you are the ones doing the approval process. And every time you look up, especially Beat Claim Wars, project where where he essentially had that 20,000. I almost said stole, but I do kind of agree that I think the problem with that campaign is that he didn't do his homework beforehand, so he didn't understand how much money it was actually going to cost to produce a 100-page hardcover book and to be able to pay artists and writers and be able to ship and all of that. So $20,000 was definitely never going to be enough. And so I think that's sort of like the problem that he got into. And even if we give all of them that benefit of doubt, just the fact that they've been able to go without really kind of updating for long stretches and just, you know, acting as if they should have no real accountability. It's not, it's really not good business practice. But, what I was saying with, the Hawaiian Dick thing is that it was being pushed by the Kickstarter staff. And so, so to a degree, Kickstarter for that project, because of the press that it's been getting, now that years have passed and there still has been no book, it really kind of taints your name, even if you can get good stuff. Versus, right now going to Indiegogo. Now, of course, we still have to see, you know, we still have to see and get promises fulfilled and things like that. And the good thing is that everyone is making sure and is saying now that the goal is to make sure that everybody produces on time as they promise, because that does become the thing. And even if you're just a little late by like a few weeks or like a month or so, I think people normally forgive that than, like with Kwanzaa's Black, where it took years to get, and then you don't even fully fulfill everything. You're just sort of like spreading yourself too thin. So that was just like one idea that I had. And then I think it was DNC who pointed out something. And like the more I look at it and the more I think about it, the more not quite upset, but just the more, I guess, perturbed I get. This idea of using Black people as a shield. You know, and I say this, and I don't necessarily like to talk about this a lot because I am Black, and I get tired of people trying to pretend that they get to speak for me. And it's the same thing that I feel with feminists. I get tired of them feeling like they get to tell me what I'm supposed to think, or they get to be my spokesperson because, they're women. And, just the attitude of taking away a person's agency because you don't agree really kind of bothers me. But there was a deeper aspect that also bothered me more, and it was the aspect of uh, that rational human beings understand that Nazis should be punched. Like that. I think when I wanted to do the video, I really wanted to concentrate on that. And so I think that is what I'm going to concentrate on. This idea that they believe that that's rational. Now, I'm a rational person. I live with rational people. I'm friends with rational people. And none of them think that that sounds good. That the idea of assaulting someone because you disagree and then acting as if calling them a Nazi is really a defense, that is a proper defense. And it really kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like this is going to be a crappy video because it's really sort of like just this really terrible, crappy subject. And when it comes to getting into their mentality, I just, I don't know. Like, I always feel like I just need to shower afterward and just like scrub the stupidity off of me. And so, you know, just reading their words and reading how they think that this stuff makes sense. You know, the I don't even know what I want to say. It's like it's almost like the idea that they think that they're rational has kind of broken me in a way. The fact that the fact that this is where we've come to, you know, and it was interesting because yesterday I was trying to explain this kind of mentality to a typically rational person, and it's like it never computes because rational people keep wanting to talk about rationality. And so like, they just want to talk about how, you know, they want to talk things through in a rational aspect. And then you have to remind them that you're talking to irrational people. And it's sort of like, I really kind of have no analogy for that. You know, I can say that they're the villain of the story, and certainly they are. That's, you know, and you just listen to them, and you know the things that they say, the fact that they believe it, the fact that they think that it's normal, the fact that to them rational people agree with them 100%. They're really, I don't know. Like I don't know. And because I'm a thinker, like a lot of me just keeps going, like, how did this even occur? And then I say, how did this even occur? And really, it's sort of like, I don't know. I think to a degree, and I kind of say this in my regular life, I think to a degree, a lot of this has happened because a lot of us have ignored the crazies. And it's the insane asylum. And now the patients are running the insane asylum. And to even get to that point, it's like everyone had to kind of have this attitude of ignoring. And I know that that's true because, you know, even when it comes to elections and things like that, most Americans just don't pay attention. Most Americans are really uninformed about issues. And when we remain uninformed and we ignore the crazy, you know, or we take an attitude of, you know, the crazies will just go away, and we do this kind of fence sitting or like hiding our heads in the sand, we shouldn't be surprised when the crazies kind of take over because what we've proven is that we're unwilling to fight back. And I don't mean that physically. I really don't believe that physically because I don't I believe in being a law abiding citizen. But to a degree it's sort of like regular people have to be willing to take their society back. And they have to be willing to just learn to say no to the crazies. And maybe that takes a sort of like warrior kind of attitude, where you don't want to fight, but it's sort of like, it's like for me, I am a gun advocate, so I believe in taking classes. So I've taken proper handling classes and gun shooting classes, and I love going to the gun range, and just having gone through concealed carry and all of that, and learning what it meant to be a responsible gun owner. And you do it not with the intention to harm anyone, because it's not like I'm walking around saying, oh, who, like I'm bad and no one's gonna come after me. I'm not I'm not walking around like this is some movie where I'm just waiting for someone to, step up to me. But it's it's sort of like when I used to do martial arts. It's the attitude of, you know, learning how to protect yourself, learning how to be prepared, learning, how to have, spatial awareness, and learning how to do all of that really kind of it kind of prepares you so that if something should happen, the goal, especially if you've been training and you've been, practicing and you've been made it like a regular part of your life, then, the thought process is that you will continue to have like a cool head and you'll know what to do because it becomes muscle memory at the same time. And we don't like we've had this kind of muscle memory that caused us to pull back, and like I try to explain to regular people that the problem that we've come up to is that SJWs will always lie about you because they know that throwing an accusation at you is more prone to stick because rational people, but can I even really call them like, because it's sort of like uninformed but rational people they may not do their homework. And I feel like I'm getting I feel like I'm getting convoluted now. But it's the idea of they throw accusations at you because normal rational people tend to pull back because you sit there and you go, well, whoa, well, why would you call me that? But it's that the accusation that's thrown that's supposed to put you on the defensive, because once you become on the defensive, and that's how they've made conservatives especially look so bad, because for the longest time it was just a matter of throwing accusation after accusation after accusation. And when you're a person who's not used to having, especially such horrible accusations, like I once got into a conversation with a girl on Twitter and she called me a misogynist. And she called me a misogynist because I didn't agree with her that child killing was okay or that child killing was somehow unselfish. So I was a misogynist for that because I didn't care about women because I believe that murdering a baby for convenience is wrong. And that accusation was supposed to stop me. Or the one time this one guy thought that calling me a special snowflake, like that was supposed to just stop me in my tracks, and I was supposed to, you're defending MRAs, and that was supposed to just completely stop me, and I was supposed to just be like, oh no, I'm not doing that at all. And I'll tell you how I got rid of him. I essentially called him a racist because it's like if we're throwing accusations and I'm asking you to leave me alone and you can't rationalize with these people. The point that I'm making, because he did pull back when I said, now I'm going to start to think that you're racist, even though I didn't think he was. But to a degree, I do actually think that they are. But that's another video, possibly. and that's not really something that I want to talk about. I feel like this is getting so rambling, but this always punch a Nazi thing. I look at this stuff as this kind of warning about the level of unhingement. It's probably not even a word, but I know you guys understand what I'm saying. We're dealing with people who are completely unhinged. And when they're publishing things like Always Punch a Nazi, and they're telling people how to make a fist, and I don't understand how grown men need to be told how to make a fist, to be honest. I just don't. I think that should just kind of go without saying. You might need to teach women how to make a fist. I grew up surrounded mostly by boys. Like I said, I took martial arts. I don't understand how grown men should have to be taught how to make a fist. And certainly, especially after what happened, and maybe that is kind of the thing, after what happened to the quartering and looking at this always punch a Nazi, and then knowing that essentially a Nazi is considered someone who just disagrees with these people, I'm fearful that we're getting into this dangerous territory because these people are completely nuts. And I'll say that they're nuts because they're clearly proving that they're nuts just by this idea that punching someone that they disagree with and saying it's because they're a Nazi somehow makes what they did not assault, and that they do it unprovoked, and that they do it when you're not looking. Cowards do that kind of stuff, and we're dealing with a number of cowards. And I'm getting to a place in this video where now I'm like, it's completely different than what I wanted in the first place. But, and I know there's so much wrong about Kickstarter allowing a campaign to be run called Always Punch a Nazi. Like, I'll forgive them about the sex stuff that they put up in comics and things like that, but things that are clearly geared toward provoking violence are things that I cannot forgive a company for doing. And, I am definitely someone who believes in the free market. And I'm definitely someone who believes in, self-protection. And I'm definitely someone who believes that these people are crazy. And as a writer, I just, I can't even say that I'm amazed, but, and even like the writing aspect of it, not of the actual thing, but the writing aspect of shoehorning in politics, I want that to be a completely separate video. So let me just end it here before I just keep rambling down some rabbit hole or something. If you've made it this far, I thank you, because even though I'd waited to do this, I feel like I didn't know where I wanted to go with this. And if you feel that too, it's because I really didn't. It's, there's a lot of things to talk about with it. There's a lot of feelings and stuff. Well, not really feelings, because I'm just kind of like ambivalent about the project itself, but it's the things around it. It's using Black people as a shield. It's the idea of rationality meaning assaulting people. It's the dangerous, it's the dangerous thought processes that these people go through that really just kind of is scary. I don't know when this stuff is going to end. Sunlight, of course, is clearly the best disinfectant. And I think the more light that is shined on these kind of things, like always punch a Nazi, like the plans that many of them have to assault people, the actual assault of the quartering, the insanity and stuff that has been going on. I think once light is shined on these things and more people begin to take attention, I think that, you know, there should be a rallying cry of exposing these people and exposing them and exposing them and exposing them to the point where, these companies that have been backing this kind of behavior to where they're also revealed for who they are. I don't think that Twitter should be able to continue to lie about being impartial. I don't think Facebook should be able to continue to lie. YouTube should never be able to continue that lie. I think they all should be exposed for the leftist nutbags that they are. And I guess the point is, I really do think that at least when it comes to exposing their behavior, it's really time to kind of fight back on that, to essentially reveal truth to the lies that they've been able to tell, and to, I don't know, I mean, like, how do you, other than creating more competition, because really that to me is the thing that I really do think, like, that's the beauty about what Comicsgate is doing, where they're creating competition. I think there needs to start being competition for these platforms. I think people need to start taking these things seriously. I think these leviathans of SJW platforms, I think their time is long past, and I think we need to stop holding on to them. And I think we need to start truly competing against them. And I'll leave it like that, because if I have, more to say, there's always time to do other videos. But if you like this, click the like button, subscribe, share the video, help me grow this platform. Think about what I said, certainly, and just be prepared. Like, that's really all that I can say. And do not buy Always Punch a Nazi. Don't back that project. But certainly read the page, because I do think that reading the page is important. And I think reading the things that they write and do is important, just to understand where they are. That's why I don't necessarily agree with the Alex Jones banning, because just like I don't agree with the whole thing about monitoring people's speech, because I like to know who the actual racists are. I actually like to know who the crazies are. I think that they should be able to speak, because, if I don't want to listen to it, I don't have to listen to it. But that's for another video. Anyway, oh my God, I'm going on to 29 minutes. So I will see you in another video. Bye.